The camera creeps through the narrow hallway of Ethan Price's apartment. The silence is deafening, broken only by the slow creak of the floorboards beneath Detective Sarah Nolan's boots. A coffee cup sits untouched on the table, its contents hardened into a dark crust. Clothes lie folded neatly on the bed, untouched. Everything looks painfully normal, until the officers start lifting the mattress. That's when Sarah sees it. A single Polaroid, taped upside down beneath the wooden frame. Her breath catches. The photo shows a pale, abandoned farmhouse under a stormy sky. The grass around it is dead, the windows pitch black. And yet, there's something faint in the reflection of the glass. A silhouette, standing still, watching. Sarah turns the photo over, written on the back in hurried pen. "Find me." Before he does, the officers freeze. The air changes. In that moment, what began as a missing person case becomes something far more sinister. Somewhere in the room, a clock ticks twice, then stops, like time itself is holding its breath. Hours later, the apartment is sealed off with yellow tape, but Sarah remains inside, her gloves smudged with dust and graphite. Forensics hum quietly in the background. A camera flash, a quiet murmur, the scratching of pens. On the table lies Ethan's journal. Its pages uneven from torn entries. Sarah flips through slowly, pausing on one page filled with cryptic lines. "He waits where light forgets to fall." Her voice is low as she mutters the words aloud. Uneasy, Lena Moore enters, her eyes red from crying, clutching Ethan's spare keys. She insists Ethan wasn't depressed, that he was close to something big, something he wouldn't talk about. Sarah listens, her gaze still fixed on the strange handwriting. Every word feels deliberate, planted. The Polaroid sits nearby, under an evidence sleeve. Its dark reflection seems to pulse under the desk lamp, as though the photo is alive with memory. Lena paces, speaking fast, her words spilling between fear and guilt. He said someone was watching him, that the same car kept parking across the street. Sarah's expression hardens. She's heard this before, in other disappearances. She steps toward the window, peering out into the dark street. Rain begins to fall in faint streaks, catching the reflection of red and blue police lights. Sarah asks when Lena last saw Ethan. 2 nights ago, Lena whispers. He said he finally found it. Her voice cracks, but he never said what it was. Sarah looks back at the Polaroid, its edges curling slightly inside the plastic. The farmhouse in the picture stares back like a memory she shouldn't remember. The next morning, sunlight forces its way through the blinds, dust particles swirling like faint ghosts. Sarah sits alone, reviewing evidence photos on her laptop. Every shot of Ethan's room feels wrong, too orderly, too staged. She notices something in one of the photos, a faint reflection in the mirror above his desk, almost hidden by glare. She zooms in. There it is again, the same silhouette from the farmhouse window watching. Her breath catches, eyes narrowing. It can't be coincidence. The timestamp on the photo matches the moment police first entered the room, which means the reflection wasn't part of Ethan's past. It was taken that night. Someone else had been there. Sarah drives out of the city, the Polaroid on the seat beside her. Fields roll past under a bruised gray sky, her phone buzzing with messages from headquarters. She ignores them. The farmhouse in the picture feels familiar now, though she's never seen it before. The road narrows into dirt, mist gathering over the horizon. Her headlights catch something ahead. An old wooden sign, its paint nearly gone. She stops, steps out, and holds the Polaroid up against the landscape. The horizon matches perfectly. Every hill, every shadow, every bend of the road, identical. Her breath trembles in the cold air. The farmhouse is real, and it's not far. Rain beats against the windshield as Sarah's car pulls into the precinct parking lot. Her fingers grip the steering wheel tighter than she realizes. The Polaroid rests on the passenger seat, beside Ethan's notebook, both sealed in plastic. Inside the station, she meets Dr. Mason Clark, a forensic psychologist with the calm of someone who's seen too much. He examines the photo, silent for a long moment before saying, "He wanted you to find this. The handwriting. Look at the tilt. It's not panic. It's intention." Sarah frowns, confused. "You're saying he planned to disappear?" Clark shakes his head slowly. "Not disappear," he replies. "He planned to be found." Later, Lena sits across from Sarah in a small interview room. The harsh light overhead turns the air pale and sterile. Lena's hands twist nervously. "He wasn't scared of someone," she whispers. "He was scared of something, said it wasn't human." Sarah leans forward, voice steady. "Something? What did he mean?" Lena shakes her head. "He said it comes when you look for it. That's why he stopped using mirrors." Sarah glances toward the observation window. Her own reflection stares back, distorted by the glass. For the first time, she feels like the case is looking back at her. Night falls again. Sarah can't shake the feeling that something's following her. Not a person, but a thought that won't let go. She sits in her car outside her home, rain tapping lightly against the windshield. She replays Ethan's audio recorder from the evidence box. A static hiss fills the air. Then a voice, Ethan's. "If you're hearing this, don't come here alone." The recording ends with a faint click and another sound behind it, a whisper that isn't his. Sarah exhales sharply, replaying it again, but the whisper's gone. Only silence remains. Back at headquarters, Sarah and Dr. Clark review Ethan's digital files recovered from his hard drive. Dozens of photos of abandoned buildings, scribbled notes, and maps covered in red thread fill the monitors. "He wasn't studying locations," Clark mutters, scanning the screen. "He was studying patterns." Sarah tilts her head. "Patterns of what?" Clark leans closer, voice low. "Disappearances. Each one started with the same clue. A photograph that shouldn't exist." Sarah's stomach drops as she notices one file, labeled Farmhouse 1.jp. The timestamp reads 2 days after Ethan vanished. Sarah drives to the countryside at dawn, fog rolling low over the fields. She parks near a trail leading into the woods. Phone in one hand, flashlight in the other. The Polaroid feels heavier now. Its image burned into her mind. Following the coordinates from Ethan's notebook, she walks deeper into the mist. Birds fall silent. Her flashlight beam cuts through the fog, and there it is. The farmhouse, real, decaying, exactly as in the photo. Her steps slow. The front door hangs open, swaying slightly, creaking like it's breathing. Somewhere inside, something moves. The farmhouse smells of mildew and silence. Sarah steps inside, her flashlight slicing through the darkness. Wooden floors groan beneath her boots, dust dancing in the beam of light. On a broken table, she spots a small camera. Cracked, its screen faintly glowing with a half-drained battery. She presses play. The footage flickers to life. Ethan's face appears, pale and anxious. "If you're seeing this," he says softly, "then I didn't make it out." His eyes dart off screen. It waits until you notice it. The screen distorts with static, then shows him walking deeper into the farmhouse at night, whispering to himself. Sarah watches, frozen. The video ends abruptly with a sharp sound, something slamming, followed by Ethan's voice, distant and terrified. "Don't look at the window." Sarah returns to the station, pale and restless. The tech team manages to recover fragments from the camera's memory card. 6 files, all corrupted, except one. As it plays, Ethan's shaky footage fills the monitor. He's filming himself walking through the farmhouse at night, flashlight trembling. His voice is low, fearful. "I found the symbol again." Same as before. The camera pans across a wall, a strange marking carved into the wood. A circle divided by uneven lines, resembling an eye. The footage skips. A faint whisper bleeds through. "You shouldn't have looked." Sarah steps closer to the screen, pulse rising. Behind Ethan, something flickers. A shape. Watching. Lena bursts into the lab, trembling. "You found something, didn't you?" she demands. Sarah turns the monitor toward her, replaying the footage. Lena gasps. "That's the same mark he drew in his notebook. He said it was a doorway." Sarah stares, uncertain. "A doorway to what?" Lena hesitates, whispering. "He said it doesn't open from our side." The words hang in the air, heavy and cold. Clark steps in, examining the footage, voice low. If he believed that, then this was no random disappearance. He was following a pattern meant to consume him. Sarah exhales shakily, or to warn us. That night, Sarah can't sleep. The footage replays in her head. Ethan's voice, the whisper, the mark. She stares at her bedroom mirror, unable to shake the thought of what Lena said. The reflection behind her feels deeper, darker. The faint outline of the farmhouse appears in the mirror's corner for just a second before vanishing. She steps closer, breathing slow. A sudden noise from the hallway. A floorboard creaks. Sarah spins around, heart hammering. No one's there. She turns back toward the mirror, and this time, her reflection doesn't move. Morning light seeps through Sarah's blinds as she drives back toward the farmhouse, unable to resist the pull of what she saw. Her radio hums static, words cutting in and out. Fragments of Ethan's voice repeating from the recorder she thought she'd left at home. "Don't come here alone." Her grip tightens on the wheel. As she nears the field, she sees something new. Fresh footprints in the mud leading toward the house. Only one set. She follows slowly, each step sinking deeper into the earth. At the door, a cold wind rushes out, carrying the faint sound of a man whispering her name. The farmhouse door closes behind Sarah with a groaning echo. Dust floats in the faint light streaming through broken boards. Her breath fogs in the cold air. Every wall is lined with old photographs, not printed but pinned Polaroids. Hundreds of them. Faces, places, dates. All the same strange handwriting beneath. Seen. She moves closer, her flashlight trembling. In the center of the wall, one Polaroid stands out. Her. A recent photo standing at the entrance of the farmhouse. Sarah steps back, pulse racing. Her mind races through every possibility. A trick, a setup, a nightmare. But the timestamp on the photo is from 20 minutes ago. Warning me is from 20 minutes ago. Back at her apartment, Sarah can't think straight. She's replayed the discovery a dozen times, searching for logic where none exists. She spreads Ethan's notebook, the Polaroid, and the printed video frames across her table. The same symbol appears again and again. In Ethan's notes, the farmhouse carvings, even faintly etched on the back of her own photograph. She traces the shape with trembling fingers. The lights flicker. Her laptop wakes by itself, the camera light blinking. The screen flashes white, then shows her own live feed, except behind her, there's movement. She turns sharply, but nothing's there. When she looks back, the video window is blank. Our room, and why? Sarah meets Dr. Clark at a quiet diner, hoping for reason. He listens, calm but concerned. "You said you found your own photo there?" he asks softly. She nods, voice trembling. Same timestamp, but no one else was there. Clark leans closer. "Sarah, what you're describing sounds like fixation. The more you look for connections, the more the pattern builds itself around you." She stares at him, anger flickering. "Are you saying I'm imagining this?" Clark sighs, eyes dropping to his coffee. "I'm saying some doors open because we want them to." She looks away, her reflection in the diner's window faintly flickering like static. That night, Sarah dreams of the farmhouse. She walks through the hallway, her footsteps echoing louder than they should. Every door she opens reveals the same room, her own apartment, repeating endlessly. She wakes suddenly, drenched in sweat. But something's wrong. Her apartment looks slightly different. Furniture off by inches, clock ticking backward. On her table, a new Polaroid waits. It shows her sleeping in bed moments earlier. Her voice breaks as she whispers, "Who is taking these?" Her phone buzzes once, screen flashing a single unread message. "Stop looking." By dawn, Sarah can't fight the pull anymore. She drives back to the farmhouse, her breath shallow, eyes wide. She steps inside and follows the photos deeper into the house, past rooms she hadn't seen before. One door, half open, hums faintly like a vibration in the air. Inside, a room lined with mirrors reflects the farmhouse endlessly, every reflection showing Sarah slightly out of sync. She stands frozen as one of the reflections moves without her. It smiles faintly. Then the lights die, plunging the world into darkness. The farmhouse sits under a bruised sky, half swallowed by fog. Sarah arrives with Dr. Clark, who's reluctantly agreed to come after hearing her trembling voice on the phone. "You need to see it," she'd whispered. Inside, the air is colder than before, still and heavy. Clark examines the walls, tracing the strange, circular markings with his gloved fingers. "These aren't random," he mutters. "They form a sequence, almost ritualistic." Sarah nods, her flashlight trembling as she leads him toward the back of the house. "There's a room I didn't open last time." Clark's eyes narrow. "Then that's where we start." They push open the final door. The air shifts, a low hum vibrating through the floorboards. Inside, the room is covered in photographs, hundreds of them, each pinned over the same spot, layers deep. Clark peels one away. Beneath the stack is a hole in the wall, a narrow passage stretching into blackness. Sarah leans forward, the air icy against her skin. "He was following something," Clark says quietly. "Something ancient, a cycle of observation." Sarah swallows hard, staring into the darkness. Or something was following him. Clark meets her eyes. "Then we need to know if it's still here." Crawling through the passage, Sarah's light cuts through dust and webs, the tunnel closing in around her shoulders. Clark follows, his breath steady but slow. The walls inside are carved with the same symbols, sharper here, etched deep as if burned into the wood. Sarah's voice trembles. "Ethan was here." Clark's flashlight flickers, catching a glimpse of a torn jacket wedged in the dirt. Ethan's. A faint hum builds, growing louder, almost mechanical, almost alive. Then, a whisper threads through the darkness. "You found me." Clark freezes. Sarah's flashlight sputters and dies. They emerge into a hidden basement. Old furniture, broken tools, and decayed wallpaper line the space, but the centerpiece is unmistakable. A large mirror standing upright, its surface cracked in a spiral pattern matching the carved symbol. The Polaroid photos scattered across the floor show reflections, not people. In each, Ethan appears standing behind the photographer. Clark studies the mirror, murmuring, "It's not a window, it's a record." Sarah steps closer, her reflection fractured. For a moment, Ethan's face flickers beside hers. Then, in the mirror, his hand rises, but Sarah's doesn't. Clark's voice is calm but unsteady. Sarah stepped back. She doesn't move, mesmerized by the mirror's pull. Ethan's reflection mouths words she can't hear. Clark reaches for her arm, but the surface of the glass ripples like water. A faint, distorted version of Sarah smiles from inside the reflection. "Sarah, don't! Look!" Clark shouts. The mirror explodes with light. The basement plunges into silence. When Clark opens his eyes, the mirror is shattered across the floor. Sarah is gone. Only the camera, still recording, points at the broken glass. In its reflection, two figures stand. One is Clark. The other isn't Sarah. The farmhouse stands empty under the pale dawn. Police cars surround the property, their flashing lights dim against the fog. Inside, Dr. Clark walks slowly through the ruins of the basement, his expression unreadable. The mirror fragments have gone cold, the glow gone. He kneels beside the camera that kept recording, lifting it carefully. On the small screen, Sarah's voice whispers faintly from the last seconds of footage. "He's here." Clark rewinds, analyzing each distorted frame. For a split second, he freezes the image, Sarah's reflection staring directly at the lens. Her eyes pitch black. He whispers to himself, "It's still recording, but not us." At the precinct, Clark reviews the recovered footage again and again, each playback more corrupted than the last. The symbols appear over the frames, flickering between stills. Behind Ethan's recorded face, another shape looms closer, indistinct but human-sized. Lena enters the room quietly, her eyes swollen from tears. "You found her?" she asks. Clark doesn't look up. "No," he says softly, but something else did. He enlarges one image, Sarah's silhouette standing where Ethan once stood. Lena's breath catches. That's the same spot where he disappeared. Clark leans forward. "No," he says. "It's where she appeared." Lena and Clark return to Ethan's apartment, desperate for something they missed. The space feels colder than before, untouched since the night Sarah found the first clue. On the table lies a photo neither remembers seeing, a Polaroid of the farmhouse basement, but now with Sarah standing beside Ethan. Lena's voice trembles. "That's impossible." Clark examines the back of the photo. New handwriting scrawled beneath it reads, "The observer becomes the scene." He sets it down slowly, realization dawning. "Ethan wasn't trying to escape," he whispers. "He was trying to show us what happens when you find it." Later that night, Clark listens again to Ethan's final audio recording. Between bursts of static, a voice that isn't Ethan's breaks through, whispering his name. "Mason." He freezes. The voice repeats, closer. He looks around the dark office, heart pounding. The reflection in the window shows not him, but Sarah standing behind his chair, her face faintly smiling, her eyes hollow. He turns. Nothing. Nothing. When he faces the window again, she's gone. Only his own reflection remains, until it blinks. At dawn, Clark drives back to the farmhouse one last time. The sky glows pale and empty. He carries the camera, the Polaroid, and a notebook filled with symbols he no longer understands. Inside, the house feels different, warmer, almost welcoming. He walks to the basement and sets the camera down facing the broken mirror. "If anyone finds this," he murmurs, "don't look for her. She'll find you." The reflection flickers to life, showing Sarah standing behind him, smiling faintly. Clark looks into the mirror one final time. The screen fades to static, his whisper echoing softly, "We all disappear somewhere." Months later, the farmhouse is quiet, abandoned once again. Clark stands outside, notebook in hand, piecing together everything Ethan left behind. Each symbol, each photo, every fragmented recording points to the same horrifying pattern. Whoever observes the threshold becomes trapped, their reflection no longer theirs. Clark flips through the Polaroid album one last time. There's one photo he hadn't noticed before. His breath catches. It shows Sarah standing in the basement, eyes black, smiling faintly, as if she knows something he cannot. He whispers, "She's part of it now." Clark returns to the police evidence room, scanning the recovered footage one last time. Each frame of Ethan, each shadow and symbol begins to make sense in a horrifying way. The disappearance isn't physical. The threshold traps the observer's consciousness. Ethan's Polaroid photos, The mirror in the basement, Sarah's image, all were attempts to warn, to record, or perhaps to survive. Clark's hand hovers over the play button on the camera. A faint whisper, unmistakable, "Do not look." He flinches, realizing it's already too late. Clark revisits Lena, desperate to understand if she had seen the full extent of what Ethan uncovered. Lena shakes her head, tears running silently. "I never understood until the Polaroids showed me," she whispers. Clark spreads the album on the table. Each Polaroid of Ethan's research in the farmhouse now reveals Sarah subtly moving within the images before she was even there. Lena swallows hard. She's observing herself now? Clark nods grimly. The observer becomes the scene. No one leaves completely. Clark drives past the farmhouse one last time. Fog curls around the structure, thicker than before, like it's alive. A reflection in the car window catches his eye. For a moment, he sees Sarah standing outside the house, eyes empty, watching him. He blinks, and she's gone. But in the faint mist, the house seems to pulse, as if it remembers her presence. Clark understands. The farmhouse isn't abandoned. It waits silently, ready for the next observer. Months later, the farmhouse stands untouched, yet the Polaroids, the mirrors, and the symbols remain. Clark has returned to his office, but he can't forget. Sometimes in reflections, he thinks he sees her. Sarah, watching him from another world. Ethan is gone. Sarah is gone. Only the echoes remain, leaving a warning in the shadows. Some doors, once opened, never close, and some observers never stop being observed. The screen fades to black, the whisper soft but chilling. We are all seen eventually.